Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Casually Spike, and this week we are taking back the power as we dive into our Aether Revolt complete spoiler. With me are my friends, Jaron Denham.
We're only covering blue-white, so you can skip if you want.
Devin Harrison.
Yay.
Bill Gantz.
Good morning.
And joining the show for this particular episode is Mr. Brandon Januszewski.
See, now I'm going to show up at your house tonight and kill you.
Oh!
Joke's on you, I have an apartment. Anyway, so for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a complete set review. We're going to talk about every card. So a couple small changes to the format. We don't have like a big discussion piece this week. We'll just have our reviews, and then we'll just have the review and then the shout-outs, and then that'll be kind of it. And we're breaking it up into 3 weeks. So this week, which is the week of the 7th, we are going to be talking about blue and white. Then next week, which is the pre-release weekend, we will be talking about black, red, and green. And then the week of release, following that, is going to be the multicolor, the artifacts, and the land. Just the one.
Just one land.
Okay.
A single solitary land. I heard it's like City of Brass.
Do you know there's no equipment in this set?
More like City of Ass.
Oh, but City of Ass made 1.5.
Yeah, well.
And you don't need equipment when you got cars.
Yeah, our cars have equipment. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and move on to the first card.
Oh, man, segue.
Which is Aerial Modification. Now, Aerial Modification is an enchantment or it's an uncommon. Costs 4 and a white. Enchants target creature or vehicle. As long as enchanted permanent is a vehicle, it's a creature in addition to its other types. And enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has flying. And since we don't have all the pilots in this set like we did in the last set, I feel like this is actually pretty solid.
The reason why I like it is that it doesn't specify that it has to actually be only on a vehicle. Like, it gives the bonus effect if it is a vehicle itself. But you can actually put this on a creature to make it, like, Alpha Strike.
Pretty much. I mean, like, you could do that, and then with all the value creatures there are in the set, who knows? Maybe our Vampire Nightwalk won't have to take the bus.
I'm pretty sure that he would still be taking the bus.
He'll be taking the flying bus, though.
This is true. He does turn into a Vampire Nighthawk at this point, but he is still the Walkhawk.
Yeah. But I like this card. It's a decent pick if you're in white, especially if you're in the red-white vehicles archetype. I feel like this is pretty solid.
I really feel that this will wheel every time.
You could probably get it to table once, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it can't go further than twice.
Well, depends on what table you're playing at.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, it's decent. Moving on. Next card up, Jaron.
Yeah. We have Aeronaut Admiral. It's 3 and a white for a human pilot. It's an uncommon. It has flying. Vehicles you control have flying. And it's a very saucy 3/1. At 4 mana, it's not that saucy. I just wanted to be a kind of a jokester about it.
Well, I mean, like...
Shut up!
I mean, here's the issue with it. Like, okay, yes, vehicles you control have flying, which I get the aerial modification giving something flying because the art on that card is literally them tying a blimp to a car. But this is just a guy. And the thing is, yes, 4 mana for a 3-power flyer seems nice, but when we have a bunch of guys that do 1 damage at common that can ping it right out of the air, it just feels like you're going to end up getting a bad deal on this. But I guess if you're in the aggro build where you can like kind of like tempo it out, maybe, I don't know. This card seems like a trap.
Okay, now I'm going to specify something real quick. I have not read the spoiler. Basically, the only cards I have seen are the ones that we have talked about previous weeks on the podcast.
Me too. And I own a store.
Yeah. Probably should have jumped on that Sahili train, huh? But anyway, I digress. I mean, this 3/1 for 4. I get that it is an evasion creature, and it makes your other vehicles have evasion, basically. So that's kind of cool. So this could actually be a game winner for you. but I really feel that you could probably pick it up like 6th pick.
Probably. I mean, he's at least nice to pilot vehicles because, like, having high power means that he'll crew everything but, like, the Aradar Express and the Demolition Stomper.
Is that the 711?
No, that's the 710.
Oh.
Or I guess it wouldn't crew the 711 either.
Yes, the Consulate Dreadnought, yes.
The boat, yeah.
That's the only one that I actually saw because it was spoiled yesterday, I think.
But yeah, it's decent, you know. Brandon?
So next we have Aether Inspector. It is a Dwarf Artificer for 3 and a white. And it is a 2/3 Vigilant. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. And whenever it attacks, you may pay 2 energy. And if you do, create a 1/1 servo.
So basically, this is kind of what I guess we have to call the Aether cycle. There is a common in each color with these. This is the white one, where they all have different sizes. Some of them have keyword abilities, like this guy has Vigilance. He's a 2/3. But they all have the text, gets 2 energy when it enters, and whenever it attacks, you pay 2 energy to make a servo. Which is kind of like a riff on the, what were they called? The beasts from the previous block. The
Thriving Beast.
The thriving cycle, yeah. This is kind of like a riff on that. As far as how good these are, I actually think the thriving. I'm fine. I actually think the thriving cycle is way better.
Same here.
Specifically because that cycle gave you let you get counters instead of making servos, which I feel like there's not a lot of effects in this set that let you go wide compared to what was in Kaladesh, because you had both Inspired Charge and the green-white uncommon that let you go super wide.
I just don't think this guy's going to be relevant at all.
Probably not. He's probably gonna. You're probably gonna play this guy because you want to pump energy into something else.
Either that, or you just had a really bad draft and have no other playables.
And I mean, like, a 4-mana 2/3 Vigilance isn't the worst thing in the world on its own. Like, given it's worse than a Hill Giant, but I still don't think it's that bad. Like, I think this is definitely a solid, probably 8th to 10th pick. Give or take.
I think it'll be a 14th.
No, listen. There's a lot of other cards that are not that great.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and remind you again. This is the 3rd card I've seen out of this set.
Well. Anyway.
David.
Next card. How's that pronounced? Aether Geode?
Aether Geode.
Aether Geode doesn't matter.
Aether Geode Minor. It is a rare. It's 1 and 1 white. It's a Dwarf Scout 3/1. When it attacks, you get 2 energy. Pay 2 energy. Exile it, and then return to the battlefield under its owner's control.
This is okay to me.
I think it'd be okay in limited.
I think it's fine.
I mean, this is going to be like an overarching theme in Aether Revolt, I think. There's a lot of rares that feel like they were just like a bit too powerful to be uncommon, and there's a lot of uncommons that feel like they could have been rares. And this is kind of an example because this, I believe, actually takes a riff from an old cycle of creatures. I think this was back in Scourge, called the Gust Cloaks.
Yeah.
And unique thing with the Gust Cloaks is whenever they attacked, they all had a 0 activated ability that said exile this creature, then bring it back.
Right.
And this is basically the same thing with different rules text. It's a 3/1 for 2 mana, which have always been playable. This one doesn't have any evasion like some of the ones we've seen. So this is a fine card. I don't think this is a first pick. Like,
no.
Just like,
it's not really, but it's aggressive enough that if you're in like the vehicle deck, like it could definitely swing a game in your way.
I mean,
Pack 2, if you're in vehicle, it would be...
You play this card.
Yeah, you would be happy to see this card.
But to go back to the Gust Cloaks thing, the reason why those were so good was because they could just avoid dying. Because you would make a really bad attack, and then your opponent would block, and be like, oh, wait, I didn't actually mean to do that, and it triggers, and then you just put it back.
Yeah.
This thing, it actually has a cost to do that.
Yeah, but it makes that cost.
Yeah, it makes that cost, and it's great. Because if you have anything that has some sort of, if a creature enters the battlefield under your control this turn, do X, this could enable that.
It's also a revolt enabler.
Yes. Yes, that is the most important thing. Now, that is the keyword I saw a couple days ago because they finally spoiled it, and I was really excited to see that. And next week, when we talk about green, there's a card that I want to talk about that dies the Fatal Push.
All right, Bill, it's your turn.
Next one is Airdrop Aeronauts. It is a Dwarf Scout uncommon, 3 and 2 white. It is a flying. It has Revolt. When Airdrop Aeronauts enters the battlefield, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you gain 5 life, and it's a 4/3.
First off, I have to say I really like the name.
I like
Airdrop
it too.
Aeronauts.
I love the name.
I like the art too because the thing is they're basically flying on a Kaladesh version of a double hang glider.
Yeah.
But this is actually the first card we've got with the Revolt rules text. So basically, Revolt cares about having permanents leave the battlefield. So like with the Aether Geode Miner that we saw earlier, we basically it doesn't have to die or it can be bounced back to your hand. It can blink in and out. It doesn't matter, and that actually has a lot of applications for a card we'll talk about in black. But as for limited, I think this guy's pretty solid because I mean a 4/3 flyer for 5, like it's not Sarah Angel, but that's because we can't have Sarah Angel because it kind of broke limited in half. But
I don't think that this thing is like a first or second pick, but it's definitely a third.
Yeah, I would definitely pick this pretty high. Like I would first pick this if the rare was bad.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like if it's this or Vizardrix, I'm taking this.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. I think this is like one of the stronger limited uncommons, at least in white.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems really solid.
I like this card.
The next card?
Yeah.
Then you go ahead and read it because I want to read the one after it.
Okay. Alley Evasion. It's a white for an instant. It's a common. Choose one. Target creature you control gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Or return target creature you control to its owner's hand. I like this card a lot.
I mean, it's a decent combat trick. I'll give them that. Like, because they've been giving us a lot of white for +2/+2, and then sometimes it gets some other goofy ability. But this gives you 1/2, but you also have the option to blink it out. So this kind of does double duty.
This enables your revolt.
Yeah, this enables your
Also
revolt.
protection from removal.
Yeah.
Protects you from. It protects you from.
Not fatal push.
Actually, it would protect.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. But not the +1/+2.
But yeah, so you really do get a lot of flexibility with this card. It's definitely solid.
This card actually seems like the opposite of Subtle Strike. And that seems okay to me.
I don't see how it's opposite of Subtle Strike.
Because Subtle Strike pumps a guy and then gives a guy -1/-1. This one makes it to where it's straight up defense. Subtle Strike is an offensive card.
You can use this offensively.
You can, but you're probably going to use it as like a lethal kill.
Yeah, but that's white, you know.
Yeah.
It's a decent combat trick. Pick it somewhere around the middle if you need it. Don't value them too highly though.
All right. You said you wanted this one.
I do.
All right.
The next card we're looking at is Audacious Infiltrator. It's 1 and a white. It's a Dwarf Rogue 3/1, and it cannot be blocked by artifact creatures. Now, the reason I wanted to take this one is, first of all,
The art.
I love this art because it's literally like a dwarf holding up a gremlin in like a capsule, and he's like very clearly threatening the like constructs around him. Like, to me, it looks like he's threatening them with a Pokemon. But,
Yeah.
you know. And then the
Kaguya-san.
flavor text, yeah, is pretty much like him threatening them. This little critter can turn all of you to scrap in under 30 seconds. Come on. Who wants to be the first to go? Try and stop me.
I choose you, Gremlin.
Like, he is literally ready to throw this thing on the ground and just unleash hell. Like, it's great. I love it.
I wonder what his Pokedex is at. Is it just 1?
Probably somewhere north of 800, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this guy's gonna be sweet, especially if servos are a big thing.
Well, that's the thing too, because he doesn't get eaten by servos. The quintessential example of a 3-1 with a this thing can't block, because there was a 3-1 in, I believe it was Battle, that was like a 3-1 that couldn't be blocked by Eldrazi.
Yeah.
Because we had Eldrazi Scions running around, and this is the same kind of thing. So this is pretty decent. Like, and of course in the vehicle decks, this will be a good pick.
I want the next one because it's boring.
Take it.
All right, cool. We have Bastion Enforcer. It's 2 and a white for a 3/2 dwarf soldier. Doesn't do anything else? No. It is vanilla.
I mean, we saw a lot of 3-mana 3/2s back in Kaladesh.
Yeah, we did.
So this is kind of just par for the course. It's not bad. It's not great.
The thing about Kaladesh, especially at the beginning, before we figured out the format, you wanted to have 3/4s because everything had an X3. So if you had your 3/4 flyer or your 3/4 ground pounder, you could block anything that they threw at you. And with the 3/2, it just doesn't seem strong enough to be able to do anything, given it is for 3 mana.
Well, that's the thing too, because a lot of the 3/4s, like the Prakata Club Security and the Sky Swirl here, were 4 and 5 mana.
Yeah.
This and a lot of the, like I said, the 3-mana 3/2s.
Yeah.
So basically, you got a bunch of power that traded on the ground.
Right.
But I mean, that doesn't make them bad per se, because the thing is, a lot of the 3-mana 3/2s could get through the 3/4s with all the combat tricks that were available in Kaladesh.
Yeah. All right.
This ain't a card you're happy to take. This is a card you take because you have to.
This is definitely last pick worthy. All right, Brandon, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to get something to drink.
Cool. So next we have Call for Unity. It is 3 white for an enchantment rare. With Revolt, at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call for Unity. Creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call for Unity. So it's an Anthem effect that requires you to get counters.
Well, see, what's unique is this card actually plays very interestingly with some of blue and green's cards, because some of those cards there's a weird sub-theme with them where they say if you do something, pick a permanent or player and then put a counter on that thing.
Yeah.
So, like, because this uses Unity counters, you can target this and then pump your Anthem up.
Right.
And I mean, for 5 mana, this isn't a bad rate. Like, you have to wait till I assume you're going to play this and then figure out a way to get rid of a permanent. So you can have +1/+1 by the end of the turn.
There is a card that we have seen already that actually combos with this, but
Yeah.
I really don't think you're going to see them in draft.
Yeah, because with only 2 Aether Revolt packs, probably not.
Yeah.
Unless maybe you get lucky on the second pack and the guy next to you is completely not in white and is just like, okay.
I really feel that you would probably see the minor even if they were in white, because usually the white is your splash. So, I really like this card.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that if you opened your pack, you'd probably take it.
Yeah, if I pulled this pack pick one, I'd start building probably white X tokens or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's pretty decent, and I like the art's kind of cool. I like
I do too.
I like the way that
I think
John.
that's really neat.
I like the way that John used the colors.
Yep.
Dakota, I believe
Yeah.
you want the next one.
I did. I specially requested to go out of order because of this card. And this card is Caught in the Brights. This is a 2 and a white. It's an aura enchantment. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. And when a vehicle you control attacks, exile enchanted creature. I never thought we would get a literal roadkill card in Magic the Gathering.
This is fantastic.
I love everything about this card. Keep in mind, this is pretty much a rest for creatures.
It's actually closer to pacifism.
It's pacifism, but and the thing is, the art is it's a gremlin at night, and the camera or the focus on the picture is that we are in a vehicle, and it has headlights that are very clearly illuminating it, and it's got that washed out look, similar to how if you've almost ever crashed into a deer, it gets when you're staring it down with your headlights, and it's frozen in space.
If you're from West Virginia and you ever hit a possum, it's the same thing.
Yeah, except this possum is just as likely to eat your vehicle as get killed by it.
Yeah,
but
with a fork.
But I like this card for limited. I like this card in general. The foil is going to look really ugly, but
yeah, it's going to be super ugly.
That's why.
It's gonna be awesome.
That's why I want a play set of them. I kind of want to play mat of this actually.
And it would be funny as hell.
It would be great. I would definitely take this.
Yeah, I would take this highly.
This is pretty high.
This
Yeah.
this is straight up removal.
This is good removal.
Like
this is one
like
of
even if you're in
top
a
pick.
like yeah, even if you're not in the vehicle decks, like having pacifism is always a good card to have.
Yep.
And if you're not white at all, hate drafting another player is not a bad thing either.
All right. So since we got caught in the headlights enough,
What was that one acronym? It's like for a draft to take like removal enchantments.
Bread.
well, I mean, there's bread, but
There's bread, which is bombs removal,
Yeah.
evasion,
evasion,
anything, duds.
anything duds.
Yeah.
But you really, the bread acronym doesn't really apply too much anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's all about synergy.
Because a lot of these limited sets do ask you to draft within like you can draft any color, but the thing is each color has like a specified and intricate synergy that they want you to follow. For example, one of the things I whiffed on frequently was in Kaladesh, blue-green was supposed to be the creature plus energy deck. And you wanted to get lots of creatures that cared about using energy, like to get bigger, like Long Tusk Cub and the Thrivings. But whenever I built that deck, I always got the cards that made the energy, but I could never get the ones that spent them. And my deck was garbage. All the time.
I always enjoyed drafting Thriving Turtle.
The turtle did more work than anybody expected it to.
Turtle's great. Good old Shelly. All right, Devin, your turn.
Speaking of things that are not great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Next card is Consulate Crackdown. It's a rare enchantment. It's 3 and 2 white. When it enters the battlefield, exile all artifacts your opponents control until it leaves the battlefield.
This is an absolute bulk rare.
Over under on 2.5 being how many pre-release promos of this we get.
I don't think
Well,
we'll
are you
see
talking
any
about us
gameplay.
collectively or us like overall that we see?
Us sitting at this table right now.
Over under. Ooh, that's
Over under 2.5.
Well,
because
how-
you can't have a push.
Under.
Well, how many?
Under 2? Well, under 2.5, so it would be 2 or less. Okay.
2 or less.
Well,
I'm guaranteeing 2 for myself.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it's probably gonna end up being under as well.
It'll probably be 1, but I'm going to say 2.
My pre-release box will have that as my promo, and then my first pack will have that in it.
But then you're going to win.
No,
I'm just
So,
gonna
like-
drop and feel bad.
you will do the opposite of winning.
Bill's like, I'm going to get 7.
Yeah.
I'm going to open one of my Kaladesh pack.
I'm gonna open my seeded pack thing or whatever, and it's gonna have 7 in them accidentally.
So, like, this might see play in EDH if someone's running some kind of a deck that
You would
turns
never,
everything into
Okay.
artifacts.
No,
The
don't point. First of all, don't point at me for that. Secondly, you would never want to run this in EDH because no matter what color combination you're in, there's something better.
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying.
Well,
like,
I mean, the corner case here is that it exiles your opponent's artifacts.
That's fair, but at the same time, I feel like the only possible application I can see for this in Commander is A, if your group lets you use wish boards, which they shouldn't because wish boards are dumb, and B, if they let you use wish boards, you wish for this probably 1 time out of 100.
But you could Mycosynth Lattice them.
Yeah, you could Mycosynth Lattice them, but why wouldn't you just play why wouldn't you just play Shatterstorm and just laugh at them?
Because that blows up your stuff.
Or not Shatterstorm. What's it's from Ravnica.
Shattering Spree?
No, that's
Vandal Blast?
Vandal Blast. You just Vandal Blast them, and
That's
then you
fair. But
laugh. And it's also 5 mana.
you could do this and play a new card
And have an enchantment that they can kill next turn.
Yeah. Well, no, they won't be able to kill it next turn unless they play Demystify.
Boom.
And who plays Demystify?
Probably the same people that would play this.
So yeah, next card.
Bill, wake up.
Get woke.
It's only morning.
Yeah. Conviction is an enchantment aura, common, 1 and a white. And enchanted creature gets +1/+3. And then for 1 white, return conviction to its owner's hand.
See, I really feel they missed an opportunity with this because this could be an arrest card.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, having actual conviction.
A crappy holy strength.
Hey.
It helps the revolt.
It does help with your revolt.
Yeah.
Because it is a permanent you can send back for 1 mana.
Yeah, got him.
Boom.
And at least and because it has that, it also stops you from getting 2 for 1.
Do you know what else was an enchantment that you could bounce back to your hand for 1 mana? Flickering Ward.
I get a lot of use out of that in Commander, so. Although we can't have Flickering Ward. Remember, we're not allowed to have protection anymore because protection made sad things happen.
Protection made people confused about why things trampled.
Yeah, it made them unable to understand why Anger of the Gods could not kill them, but Wrath of God could.
Which was the easiest explanation ever.
But they don't want explanations. If they wanted explanations, they would play Legacy.
Give me answers!
But yeah, nothing special here. This is a 14th pick for sure.
Wah, wah. Actually, no, I would venture to say it's probably a 10th. You let it wheel.
I wouldn't even touch this thing. I would take this card.
If your deck was Revolt-centric, you would take this.
I would take it as like probably a 10th pick.
You would take it and like it because you would win your table with this card if you had like 12 Revolt cards.
I still don't think it's that great because it's just a power boost. Like maybe if it gave it vigilance or something goofy, maybe it would be at least okay.
All right. I have a challenge then.
No.
The first time that we draft and I get a Revolt deck, I'm going to have 3 of these in my deck. And we play against each other, even if it's an exhibition. If I win with this card, you have to buy me a taco. And if I lose, I will buy you a taco.
I'll take a taco bet.
Okay. Taco bet it is.
I know this is audio, but we just shook hands on this.
Gentleman's agreement reached.
So next card?
Yeah. Next card up is Countless Gears Renegade. I don't really get this name. Whatever. It's 1 and a white for a 2/2 Dwarf Artificer. This is a common. It has Revolt. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, you make a servo. This is a good bear.
You know what it combos with?
Lots of stuff.
Conviction.
Not on turn 2, which is where you want to play this.
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't have anything leave the battlefield on turn 2 anyway. You played on turn 3
Yeah.
after you drop double conviction on your 1/1.
Actually, if you'd have read the set spoiler, Jaron, you'd know there's a cycle of common artifacts that can enter the battlefield on turn 1 and then leave immediately.
That's really cool because this is a bear.
But, I mean, this is a fine bear. Like, 2 mana 2/2s are pretty stock. Like, you'll play this. It's a decent pick. Getting the servo is nice, especially with one of the keyword abilities in the set that we'll get to.
Yep.
Just good, solid limited card.
All right. Next one up is really pretty. I can't wait to see this foil. Dawn Feather Eagle. It's 4 and a white for a bird. It's a common. Flying. When Dawn Feather Eagle enters the battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+1 in vigilance until end of turn. And it's a 3/3. Gentlemen, we have our Alpha Strike enabler.
This is the card you want to go wide with.
This is the card. This is the one. Oh my god, this is solid. I like this.
Like 5 mana 3/3s are pretty okay most of the time, but this one giving your team vigilance and the power boost, pretty solid stuff.
I am completely fine with this card.
And the art's pretty cool. Yeah, just good old, just
Good solid card.
good,
Yep.
good decent card.
It's probably about a 5th pick.
Take it in the middle.
Yeah. All right, your drop.
Alrighty. So next we have Deadeye Harpooner.
The Harpoonist.
And it is a Dwarf Warrior, uncommon, for 2 and a white. And it has Revolt. And when it enters the battlefield, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, destroy target tap creature an opponent controls for a 2/2 body.
Oh, you were
This-
close enough to the mic.
Oh,
This is
It
a
might knock it out.
well, basically it's a 2/2. If you revolt, you get to destroy a tapped creature. It's
For
an
3
uncommon.
mana. Done.
But this card is actually really solid because this is a decent body like Grey Ogre, and then you also get to destroy a creature if you revolt. So this is pretty solid if your opponent's on the aggro train and they hit you with something turn 2. And even late it can be good because they can hit you with their bomb, and then you untap, play this guy, and shoot their bomb down. And I just like the idea of this guy being a harpooner because it makes me think of that Whalers on the Moon bit from Futurama.
yeah.
And you can play with Sky Whaler shot too.
I know, right?
We're whalers on the moon.
We carry a harpoon. But we can hunt whales because this is Kaladesh, and there are whales in the sky for reasons.
All right, so this card, I feel probably picking in the middle still,
Yeah,
but I can see it
don't-
go high third pack.
See, I would take this pretty early because this is decent removal.
Like this is probably third or fourth pick to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably second pick this on if I knew I was in white. I would
Yeah.
I would probably second pick this.
Yeah, if you knew you were in white, you would second pick.
Like if I got turn 1 or if I got pack 1 pick 1 some white bomb, and then I see this in the second pack I get passed. Like I'm taking this unless there's like some other ridiculous removal spell.
A foil Deadhide Harpooner.
I feel like the foil wouldn't be as good on this one just because it's a lot of because dark foils don't look
yeah.
good.
Dark.
Say that to the swamp that I found in my collection a couple days ago.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what to say to it.
I don't either because I was just joking about it.
All right.
Next card.
Yes.
Yep.
Decommission. It's a common. It is 2 and a white instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment with Revolt. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, gain 3 life.
This thing is super good removal in this set.
It's great removal. Like the life gain's nice. It does a pretty good impersonation of Appetite for the Unusual, but I just love this flavor text. A key weakness in the design is its vulnerability to repeated forceful blows, and the art is a guy smashing one of Tezzeret's constructs with a hammer.
I like this a lot.
Like I feel like this text was written by somebody who worked on BattleBots.
I love that show.
I miss that show.
Yes.
Well, aren't they just on season hiatus?
I don't know anymore. I thought they got picked up by like not one of the cable networks,
They
but
got
like
picked up by ABC for like 2 seasons.
well, they were initially I forget where they were initially, but then they got picked up by ABC, and then I thought like some internet-based like Netflix or Hulu or something picked them up for a season or 2, and then like I don't know where they're at right now. That's one of those shows that seems to like appear and disappear depending on like what year it is.
If it's on Netflix,
Kind
I
of like
will keep it.
kind of like Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah.
I also like that.
I kind of am sad that we keep getting functional reprints of cards like Disenchant, except this one costs 1 more mana.
Well, the problem is they don't. First of all, they don't want Disenchant to be a thing in white anymore. That's why we have Naturalize.
Yeah.
But this is still a way to give white this effect without it being too fast, I guess. And I mean, I'm fine with white not having removal for everything because they already get good creature removal. But yeah, so anyway, decent pick.
Yep. Decent card, decent all around. Seems okay to me.
I'd take this in the middle.
Yeah, I would too. If
I,
not,
I wouldn't take it as high as creature removal, but I would take it over some of the crud, like the bulkier crud in the set.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next card. The next card we have up is Deft Dismissal, and this is 3 and a white for an instant. Deft Dismissal deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 target attacking or blocking creatures.
Oh man. This is decent removal. This is good removal.
This is decent removal. I mean, maybe we're just spoiled because we had what was it? What was the 1 and a white from Kaladesh? Target attacking.
Impeccable timing.
Impeccable Timing.
That was great.
Because we had that card, this card, by comparison, feels a lot less good.
But it's because it can hit up to 3 targets. That's why Impeccable Timing is actually slightly better. This is actually on curve to what Impeccable Timing should do.
Yeah, I mean, and like that's fine. I just, like having the ability to shred 3 servos is nice or whatever, like kill some of the 3 ones. But this seems solid. I would not take this very highly, honestly. Maybe I'm undervaluing it. I'm seeing this somewhere in the middle.
This is probably about a 5th or 6th pick at the highest.
Yeah.
Billiam.
Next one is an Angel, Exquisite Archangel.
Ooh.
5 and 2 white for a mythic rare. It has flying, and if you would lose the game, instead exile Exquisite Archangel, and your life total becomes equal to your starting life total.
And then you still die from your mill deck and your 10 poison counters.
And it's also a 5/5.
Oh yes, it is a 5/5.
I mean, this card reminds me a lot of Lich's Mirror, which kind of did the same thing, except it also reshuffled your hand.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to get anywhere in Standard just because it's kind of expensive, and yeah, like 5/5 flyer is nice, but I can play Emrakul on 7 and get a lot more. This seems definitely like a good commander card. Like, I'm putting this in Kalia.
I mean, if I stick with Black-White Control, I might play this as a one-off. Might. Because I don't die to everything.
Well,
Replace your Providence?
Providence came out a while ago. But yeah, you're right.
Well, see, here's my thing. If I was going to put a slot in for a 7-mana Angel, I would probably just clear a couple more slots and play Bruna and Gisela to have the chance of scoring Bracella.
But then you get Hello Moonlighted in Standard.
Not now. That literally doesn't happen anymore, so you're safe.
Oh, thank God. I was so afraid. Not really, because I still don't want to run that, because Gisela's too expensive for some reason.
Really? 4 mana for a 4/3 flyer that also has lifelink?
Money.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, but
Guiding a lot of decisions in life.
there's a reason that card is $20 or whatever it is.
I don't even know what it's at now. I don't care either. All right.
Yeah, it seems pretty solid. Next up is...
This one is mine
Yep.
because it's a kitty.
Well,
Yiddy.
more than that.
All right. We got Felidar Guardian. It's 3 and a white for a cat beast. It's an uncommon. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. And it's a 1/4. You know what other card sounds like a 1/4 to me? Except this card costs 3 mana, and it had flash, and it was also blue. It also tapped down a permanent, or untapped a permanent.
I don't know. What could you be talking about, Jaren?
I may be talking about the one, the only, in a multiple cycle of 5 color cards, Deceiver Exarch.
Wizards. We've talked about this. You can't keep printing combo pieces and then expecting people not to play combo. In case you didn't know, this card combos...
Hold on. This is funny. Hold on. This is going to have double triggers for bouncing creatures. We have Saheeli and this thing. And I'm going to lose to this round 1 of the pre-release. Calling it now. So, yeah.
I'll take another taco bet that you won't lose to that.
I don't want to because I know I'm going to lose that taco bet. But I want to lose to it round 1.
But yeah, so this card being spoiled caused Saheeli to spike to $20. Sorry to those that missed it.
I've got one.
But people are speculating on it for Modern because Splinter Twin used to be a thing that was 4 mana, and then we couldn't have it anymore because that's all we saw.
No fun allowed.
I mean, could Saheeli plus Guardian slot into could just slot into like Jeskai Control maybe?
Probably.
Or like any of the Nahiri builds.
All fairness, anything that can win on turn 7 by itself seems to be fine.
I mean, like, and it's going to be interesting because that'll be a card in the new Modern meta.
I don't think this thing's going to see play in Modern. I really don't.
I think people are going to try it, find that it sucks, and then give up on it. But
The-
hey, if Frontier ever takes off, then this might actually be good.
The reason why Deceiver Exarch and Pestermite were so good, as well as Bounding Krasis, in the twin decks or even the Kiki combo decks, they had flash. So you're able to go, turn 3, flashes in, tap down your land, and then play your Splinter Twin or whatever and kill them. That's why it was so good.
I mean, that seems decent.
Yeah. This thing can't do that. You literally have to play your combo backwards.
Yeah, but meh.
All right. So this thing seems okay and limited to me because it triggers your revolts. So even if you have something that has revolt and you blink that thing, it counts itself because it left and re-entered.
Now, here's an interesting question. Because it's a 1/4, do you think this would have been broken as a Pillar Field Ox?
A 2/4?
As a 2/4?
Maybe.
Because, like, just talking about limited, like, yes, this does give you a free revolt trigger. And obviously it lets you reuse any of your enter the battlefield effects.
Yeah.
But a 1/4 for 4 is just such a bad deal.
Yeah, it is a really bad deal. Like,
Right.
I don't like it for its stats, but I do like it for its ability.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why you would play it, obviously.
Yes.
I'm just wondering, is this worth playing in limited where enter the battlefield abilities are pretty few and far between?
I think it'll be fine.
Especially since we're losing a lot. Because we draft 2 Aether Revolt and 1 Kaladesh, that means we lose a lot of the Fabricate stuff, which is where you would want to have a card like this to make those cards really good. But if we're losing a lot of the Fabricate, you have less ability to take advantage of it, basically.
Like, this thing will be something that you probably pick up later, unless, like I was talking about, you have your Revolt deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably like 9th pick or so.
Yeah, give or take.
You'll let it wheel out of your pack that you open. All right, moving on. You got it, Slugger?
Yeah, we got Girapor Osprey. It is a creature bird for 2 and a white at common. It's a 2/2 flyer. That's it.
I mean, I like my Windrakes in limited, and this is a Windrake, and I'm perfectly 100% okay with this.
I like white wind drakes more than I do blue.
You racist.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is
Kill
solid.
Bluey!
Hey, hashtag Blue Lives Matter. But
Talk about people from Jupiter?
I don't know, probably. Well, no, people that's flat lives matter because everybody would weigh so much they would literally like crush in on themselves.
Did you know on Jupiter I would weigh 400 pounds?
Yeah.
Well, actually, due to the high radiation belt of Jupiter, when you ionize certain chemicals in the air, oxygen and nitrogen, they give off a blue hint of light.
You are now subscribed to Jupiter Facts. Text unsubscribe to unsubscribe from Jupiter Facts.
Unsubscribe.
You are now subscribed to Jupiter Facts. But anyway, to get back to the card, solid limited pick. Flyers are good for the blue-white flyers deck. That is literally always a thing.
Yep.
Middle of the pack pick. This is fine.
It's not terrible. If your deck's fairly aggressive, go ahead and pick up like a couple of these because you'll get them.
I would take. Admittedly, I think if there's no removal and there's no bombs, take these.
Yep.
So, I would take as many of these as were passed to me. Because could you imagine playing 7 or 8 Windrakes?
I've had 6 on summons before. That was pretty sick.
I once had a deck with 5 dead weights.
I remember that deck. Didn't I beat you?
Not with the 2/2.
I don't know what. That might have been a 2/2. I forget.
All right, Devin.
Next card, Restoration Specialist. It is an uncommon dwarf artificer. It's 1 and 1 white. It's a 2/1. 1 white sacrifice Restoration Specialist. Return up to 1 target artifact card and up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand.
This seems good.
This is very good. 2 mana 2/1s are pretty stock. But having this ability, especially especially having it at instant speed, because this feels like something they would have printed with like the text use only at sorcery speed.
Yeah.
But having this on instant means this has a lot more applications. Like, my ideal for this is having this crew a vehicle, and then that vehicle dies to whatever, and then you sacrifice this guy to get it back.
This makes your fleet wheel cruiser run into whatever it wants, and then get boomed up, and then you caught in the headlights a creature, then you play your fleet wheel cruiser, and then your fleet wheel cruiser kills the thing because it hits it and turns it into a pancake. And then the fleet wheel cruiser gets killed, and then you sacrifice this guy to get both of those cards back again, so you can repeat the process.
See, what's funny with Blinded in the Headlights is I'm imagining some of the rolling vehicles and how they make that happen. Like, I'm just thinking the boat,
The Bomat core, not Bomat.
Like the barge or like the big boat that's in this set.
Yeah.
They just smash the dock. But this seems solid, like, you know. And getting back an enchantment, you can actually get back your Blinded in the Headlights.
Just not seeing that one, Jared.
I never looked at the spoiler.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this card's good.
But this is a decent pick. Get it in the middle. Don't take it too highly. Bill, do you want to go ahead and take the next one?
Solemn Recruit is a dwarf warrior at rare. 1 and 2 white, has double strike, revolt at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Solemn Recruit, and it is a 2/2.
I immediately fell in love with this card.
I think it's pretty good.
I mean, this is a bulk rare, but this is a card you're never unhappy to see in limited.
Yeah, being a limited player, I'd be happy to see it.
Like, obviously, 2/2 double strike for 3 is a great rate. And the fact that you can make it get bigger without having to do a whole lot is huge.
I am going to slam this in every white deck I play in Standard until it rotates. I will force this thing into Standard. Standard will accept my Solemn Recruit.
I mean, it's okay.
No, you don't understand. You can sack clues. You can make Splinter Twin happen with this thing by itself.
Well, but here's the thing. Revolt is worded in such a way that you can only... Like, I'm pretty sure all the Revolt triggers for all the different cards are always at your end step, which means you can't do this every turn. You only do it at the end of your turn specifically.
Well, on this one, yeah.
Well, on Solemn Recruit.
Yeah, on Solemn Recruit, yeah. But, like, go back to Countless Gears Renegade, it's whenever a permanent leaves the battlefield, you create the 1/1 whenever it enters the battlefield.
But it doesn't have flash, so...
Which is fine. You can still blink it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are in the set that'll go into Brago.
But, I mean, like... And that's the thing, because this has that specific trigger, I think that limits it a lot compared to some of the other Revolt stuff.
I just think it's going to be nuts.
I
I would not want to stare this thing down.
It dies to shock.
It dies to Fatal Fall after it's revolted. I still wouldn't want to fight this thing.
Alright, but I mean, yeah, definitely a first pick. Definitely solid. Take it if you can. Next up, we have... I don't know if I'm going to pronounce this correctly. SRAM Senior Edificer. He is 1 and a white. He's a legendary creature, Dwarf Advisor. He is a rare, a 2/2, and he reads, whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. I like this guy.
Yes.
I would tell you what his name actually translated to in Czech.
And Polish.
In Polish, but you would have to censor the podcast.
It's pooping, but worse.
Yes. It's one of those words you can't say on television.
But, I mean, well, this isn't exactly an enchantress because this doesn't say enchantment. This says aura, and there's a difference.
There is a
It's
difference.
an enchantress effect.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely... I like this card a lot, especially for Commander. I'm going to slam this in Cron easy because that deck is mostly auras.
Yep.
And this is just a solid guy. Like, if you're in the vehicle deck and you open this guy pack 2, like, you're not thrilled, but you're not unhappy to see him.
He's still a bear.
He's still a
He's
bear.
a decent bear.
His stats are good. Like, yeah, you know.
Here's the cool part. Do you know what else he combos with?
What?
Caught in the headlights.
No, well, he doesn't. He's not a vehicle.
But he combos with it because you draw a card.
But you have to have a third card, which is the vehicle.
But it's your opponent's thing. You're removing a creature and drawing a card. What's better than that?
Removing 2 creatures.
Omniscience?
Which you'll probably get off of the draw card. And you can't say Omniscience because have you cast Omniscience in Limited?
I did once.
How'd that work out?
It actually... Well, the thing is we were in top deck mode, so I won that game.
Yeah.
But we were in top deck mode, to be fair. But I did win that game, so
But
it worked
did you
out.
need the mana anyway?
Kinda.
Really?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you know what? Omniscience might not have been the thing that made me win the game, but I certainly did it in style.
You certainly had more resources at the end of the game than your opponent did. That is correct. All right. So, SRAM, I would say he's a decent pick.
I mean, like, if I was pack 1, pick 1, I would take this guy and then try to build the vehicles deck.
I would too. Depending on what the uncommons were, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, we have SRAM's Expertise. It's 2/2 white for a sorcery. Create 3 1/1 servo artifact creature tokens. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost, and it's a rare. So this thing could cast. Insert random spell here that costs 3 or less.
Well, I mean, you could get your Solemn Recruit off of it.
You could.
Cast your Nissa, Voice of Zendikar,
You could do that as well.
and pump up your entire team.
You could cast your, well, we were talking about
Actually,
this
that
a
doesn't
little.
sound half bad.
Not in standard, no.
Get 3 2/2s for 4 mana.
Or you know what you could do, because I know Jaren might be interested in this. This is actually a cycle. Both the Legendary Creature SRAM and his Expertise, they are part of 2 interconnected cycles. We're going to have one of these in each color. Obviously, these are the white ones.
Yep.
But all the Expertises have, you can play they have an effect, and then you play a spell with converted mana cost 1 less than the actual cost of the spell itself. And actually, doing calculations, we found that you can chain 4 of these together.
Yeah.
Because you go green to, I want to say it's green to blue to white or black, although you don't want to do black because of the next card, to the red one, which is only 3.
Yeah.
So Jaren, if you want, you could play Charms Blow Pop again.
But it wouldn't be Charms Blow Pop because it doesn't have any charms.
Okay, then it can be like Mexican knockoff Blow Pop with no safety controls.
That's a hell of a name.
So would that be, oh crap, I can't remember what they're called. Dum D Lollipops, I think? No, Dum Dum Lollipops. Would that be what that is?
You could call it Magic Dum Dums.
You know the Mexican version of a lot of the candies have chili powder on them, right?
Yep. It's delicious.
It is pretty good.
I don't know what reaction you were expecting out of me there. I'm just like, okay.
Honestly, like, the reason why I like to do this podcast so much is because we know such random crap that it just makes it onto the podcast.
And sometimes it lets us go off into wildly unrelated tangents.
Like South Park for half an hour.
Well, you know what they say. Time you've enjoyed wasting is not time wasted.
I didn't know they said that.
I didn't
I
either.
haven't heard that one before either.
I had heard something like it, but I really think that Dakota just made that up.
No, I didn't. I read it. I read it somewhere. I don't even remember. It was years
So-
ago.
What is that? I can't think of the word. You're a great philosopher?
Well,
I'm a great Velociraptor.
Velociraptor!
clever girl.
All right, let's do the last white card. Brandon, go
Brandon.
with it.
So our last white card is Thopter Arrest. It is an enchantment for 2 and a white at uncommon. And when it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature and opponent controls. until after arrest leaves the battlefield.
I think I'd rather just have the hammer.
I'd rather have a ring.
I'd rather have hammer time myself.
But yeah, this seems okay. I don't get, so like, this is an uncommon, which is, you know, okay, I guess, because this is an Oblivion Ring type effect. Like, if you've got the, if you've got a vehicle that you're staring at that for some reason you can't get rid of it and it's like beating your head in, this is not a bad card to have, especially since, you know, like, they get their vehicle back, but then they can't crew it the turn that they get it back unless they remove it at instant speed with whatever. But, you know, this seems pretty solid. And, I mean, like, this isn't the worst. I would take this about as highly as I would take Hammer Time.
Yeah, you're probably fair on that. I would say it's probably somewhere close to that. Probably like...
I mean, if I have the choice, I'm taking Hammer Time, but...
you know what? Why did I just use sign language there? Thank you, Bill.
Bill is secretly grabbing people water.
Very
Yep.
secretly.
That's why I was losing it, because we had two people pull out knives to try to open up the container of water without making too much sound. All right, so since we have all of our white cards, gentlemen, how do we feel about white?
White feels very solid, especially considering all the strong white cards in Kaladesh that back this stuff up.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I feel like there's not a lot of really bad cards here. Like, there's a couple bad ones, but like a lot of this stuff, like there's a fair collection of good ones, and then there's a lot of kind of middle of the road type stuff.
Yeah.
So white looks like a pretty solid color.
Definitely not against it.
I see us drafting a lot of times just white X something.
Yeah, just like in Kaladesh. Yep.
I played white black many a time.
How many times did I play white in the day that we had like 5 drafts?
Like 3?
I think it might have been 4.
I don't remember, honestly. I wasn't there for all of them, remember?
No, I don't remember.
Okay, well,
Got all day drafts coming up soon.
Yeah.
Devin, would you like to lead us off into blue?
You're in the leadoff spot.
I guess. It's an alright card. That's Aether Swooper.
Swooper.
It's a common.
Swoop, swoop.
It's how do you pronounce that?
It's a
Vidalkin.
It's
Vidalkin?
Vidalkin.
Dalkin.
Vidalkin Artificer. It costs 1 blue. It is a 1/2 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. When it attacks, you may pay 2 energy and create a servo.
We have our
Yay!
blue servo energy card.
I saw something on Twitter after this card was spoiled, and somebody like circled the
Poop.
Yeah, that one.
That was Magic the Amerching.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's poop.
And they were like, no, that's more like a fart. I think it's blue ice.
We need to cook. Blue Ice,
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Whoop whoop!
I was actually thinking of actual blue
Maybe
ice
that one.
that falls out of the airplane when people flush the toilet.
Flunk.
Listen, listen. Don't fault me.
Flunk.
Don't fault me for what. Don't fault me for my television. I finished 3 seasons of
There's a
Archer
good
in 3
question
days.
I love Archer.
What is the terminal velocity of blue ice?
I don't know.
I'll have to figure that one out.
Well, gravity is.
Okay, Google.
9.82 meters per second.
What is terminal
Or
velocity
It's
for
negative
blue
32
ice?
feet per second per second.
This came back from Wikipedia.
It
Well,
didn't give me what I wanted.
isn't terminal velocity the same for all solid objects? Like, I don't think it changes.
Well,
No.
terminal velocity
Back
in
there,
Portal
Alex.
was that you had to fall for a minute, I think it was.
No, terminal velocity is different for different mass
It
objects.
depends on resistance and mass area. So you could have 2 things of equal mass, but one with a larger area will fall slower.
Yeah. Well,
That's why like feathers actually fall a little bit faster than larger things in a vacuum.
What? Probably in a vacuum, they fall at the same speed no matter what.
They do, but if it has like if it covers a lot larger of an area.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
Near
not
vacuum.
not
Yeah.
counting near
Near
vacuum.
vacuums.
If the only factor you have is
We're so
gravity
smart.
and nothing else, then they're going to fall at the same
I
speed at the
think
same
Hard to
time.
say. Yeah.
I feel smart.
Hey, I had AP Calculus. My final grade in that class was a D. But I had the highest grade in the final exam.
D for diploma.
Yeah.
C's and D's get degrees.
Yep. You know what GED stands for?
Good enough degree.
Good enough diploma.
But yeah, I had the highest final exam grade in my AP Calculus class.
And it's because you didn't do homework.
Yep. I hate homework.
You and me
Homework's
both,
bad for
buddy.
you.
Studies show that homework is actually bad for you.
So, what do you call a guy that graduates med school with the lowest grade point average?
Your doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's still a doctor.
Still a doctor.
Still counts.
At
Anyway,
least in my major, D's got degrees.
all right. Well, so now that we're done talking about our triumph in mediocrity,
Yeah.
Ether Swooper. This is another middle of the road card for blue. You know,
Swooper pooper.
don't pick it early.
Swooper
Won't see it late.
I'm gonna say that next to my cast.
Floaty blue fart dude is fine.
Floaty blue fart dude.
Bill's
It's
Nice.
okay.
Go
Got a
ahead.
floater.
You want to go ahead and get the next one, Bill?
Hold on. Is this guy a sinker or a floater? All right, Bill, go ahead.
The next one is a whale. Aether Tide Whale, 4 and 2 blue. Obviously, he's a whale. A rare. He has flying, and when Aether Tide Whale enters the battlefield, you get 6 energy counters. You may pay 4 energy, and Aether Tide Whale, return Aether Tide Whale to its owner's hand.
Woo!
It's a
So-
6/4.
And here's my favorite
Yeah.
part.
6
Did
4.
anybody notice that there's reminder text at the end of the first effect?
Yes.
Yes.
It specifically says 6 energy counters.
Because
Couldn't-
it's hard to count.
Couldn't they have just put a numerical 6?
It would
See, I
make
wouldn't even
sense,
have-
wouldn't it?
I wouldn't have even minded it if they'd have broken, like, especially the longer strings of different energy, if they'd have just, like, put a break in the middle of them. Like, if this
Yeah.
read 3,
8
break
slash
3,
E.
or, like, yeah, or done, like, 8 and then, like, 8x, whatever, 8xe.
I even would be fine with enters the battlefield with SIX energy symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, for the effect, that's fine where it has energy symbol, energy symbol, energy symbol, energy symbol.
4 is
Yeah,
fairly
for
easy to
Yeah,
recognize.
4 is easy to recognize.
But-
5 or more gets a little confusing.
You could even put FOUR energy and then
Yeah.
go on. But, like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, Mark Rosewater has been on the record saying that not what's the word? Not formatting energy better was kind of a design mistake.
yeah.
They're sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But you know,
We're not Canadian, eh?
this is a decent limited bomb
Sorry,
because
eh?
like
Sorry, eh?
a 6 mana 6 power flyer is nothing to sneeze at.
Now, again, I haven't seen anything, and I really want to see somebody go infinite with this thing and make the Palinchron combo with it, basically.
Well, the problem is we have cards that let you convert mana to energy, but no cards that let you convert energy back into mana, except for
Servant.
Servant. So you'd have to find a way to, first of all, generate an infinite tap untap thing,
Pilipala.
and then a way to, and like I guess that's really all you need is like that with Servant to make infinite mana, and then you would make infinite energy to not do anything with, because we also don't have an energy spell that reads spend energy to hit your opponent in the face with something.
I would like to see spend energy, draw X cards.
That's not going to happen either.
I know.
You
But
just deck yourself.
Well, I mean, like, spend, like, 3 energy, draw a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that seems okay.
Yeah. I think that this card is not first pickable, but it's pretty close.
I don't know. I would
I would play the hell out of it.
pack
though.
one, pick one. I would take this because It's 6 mana, 6 power flyer.
Yeah.
Even if the rest of that text was blank, this is still a great
It's
card.
a decent card. Not saying it's not.
Like, and the thing is, if you have stuff that synergizes with energy, even if you bounce this guy back, you still have 2 energy to play with.
Yeah.
And
But you can just play it back.
yeah, and you just play it back, and then you have more energy. So yeah, there's just like no real downside to playing this guy. He's expensive. He's definitely the top of your curve.
He's your winner.
But
Like,
this
he's your
guy
game winner.
wins the game.
Yep.
Because he is a whale, and he's having a whale of a good time.
Oh my god.
All right, so the next card we have is, I don't know if I'm going to say it like I like to say it, Barrel,
That's it.
Chief of Compliance. He is 1 and a blue. He is a legendary creature, human wizard. And he is a 1/3 that reads, instant and sorceries you cast cost 1 less. And whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
Tarland players
Tar-
get wrecked.
Talrend.
No, Talrand players are like everybody else get wrecked because
Yeah.
they're going to slot this guy in and then laugh at you even harder
Yep.
when they force spike your Genesis wave.
Whack.
He didn't force spike it. What did he do that yesterday?
He-
Thursday?
No, he didn't. He let it go.
Mana Tide.
No, not yesterday, but Thursday. Well, which was yesterday. Sam let it go through. Remember, because he dropped like 2 of the Eldrazi Titans and a couple other things,
Oh, that's right. Because he
and then I Black Sun Zenith, and I laughed because
Get
everyone
wrecked.
was like, "I have Indestructible," and you had Sliver Hive Lord, and I'm like, "Lol, Black Sun Zenith for 12."
Nice to meet you.
did play Oblivion Stone
Probably like 10 times that
at
game.
least.
Because you go Volrath Stronghold to get on upkeep to get back your Eternal Witness on top of your deck. Draw the Eternal Witness, play it, get back Oblivion Stone, play Oblivion Stone, pop it.
Now, this guy limited. Pass.
Definite pass. Like, there's no Spell Slinger deck as far as I know. Like, this is definitely not a card you want to see in your limited pools. Like, 1/3 for 2 is pretty average stats, but like, that's blah. Like, I'd rather have Omen Speaker over this, which was also a 1/3, but it let you scry 2, which is way better than this. Now the question is, with the other, there's a lot of decent blue counterspells that we've gotten, especially in this set, and I'm wondering if this guy will see play in some kind of blue X control deck that might be a thing now.
I mean, we still have the Void Shatter and stuff like that from Battle for Zendikar.
Like, we have Void Shatter, we have the Disallow that we're going to be coming up on, we have Metallic, whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of decent control cards. We might actually have a deck.
We might have a blue deck, yeah. All right. This one I'm actually super hyped about. I don't know why, but I'm really excited. It's Barrel's Expertise. 3/2 blue for a sorcery. It's a rare. Return up to 3 target artifacts and or creatures to their owner's hands. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 4 or less from your hand without paying the cost. Now, the way that I was looking at this, you bounce 2 of your opponent's permanents and 1 of your own to trigger your revolt effects.
See, I could see that, but the only thing about that particular interaction is I feel like there's not a lot of hype surrounding this card, and that's because I feel like this card is probably pretty much... I think it's worse than Salumgar's Command from Dragons.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which saw Fringe play it best. Like, it had a couple of main deck appearances, but it was mostly a sideboard card for its life.
Yeah.
And even then, it didn't see a ton of play. And I feel like that's how this is going to be. Like, people are going to try it. They're going to find that they have... Because I feel like this is 5 mana, and, like, if you're playing a control deck, I don't know... Like, you have that specific interaction, but I think I'd rather just have Fumigate.
Yeah, I would rather have Fumigate too, but the way that I was looking at it is it's more of an Alpha Strike enabler. Like, this is something that you play to end the game or make an insurmountable board presence.
Oh yeah, I mean in limited this thing is awesome. Like
Yeah.
I will always play this card in limited if I'm in blue. And I mean obviously getting a free spell off of it ain't bad either, especially since there's a lot of value to be had at 4 mana, which is where this throws stuff down.
Yeah, I mean, this also enables you to, if you do play it in Constructed, your 4 mana spell, if you're playing like Spirits, is Gideon.
Yeah.
So you bounce 3 over their guys. You play your Gideon, ultimate Gideon, kill you. That's the play.
And I mean, that is not a bad play.
No.
Yeah.
So we'll see where this goes. If you're in blue, take this. If not, let it go. Because you can't. This is a pretty hard splash.
All right. So next we've got Bastion Inventor, which is 5 and a blue for a Vedelkin Artificer creature with Improvise and Hexproof.
Now, this is the first
4/4 body.
This is the first time that we have seen Improvise, which is an ability that reads, your artifacts can help you cast this spell. You may tap an artifact after you're done activating mana abilities to pay for 1 generic.
I like to call this Artivoke.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is very clearly a riff on both Affinity of years past as well as Convoke from Ravnica and later M15. See, me and Jaren were debating on this ability a couple weeks ago, where I asked Jaren the question, are they going to print a card that says your other spells get improvised? And he was like, no.
It can't happen. And it did.
And it did.
It did.
So, like, this card itself is 6 mana for a 4/4 hexproof. But the thing is, if you're in these colors, you're probably gonna end up having some stuff that makes servos or have some artifacts or whatever. So, like, getting this guy at, like, 5 mana, I wouldn't hate. 4 mana, I'd be, like, cool with. And obviously, if you can get it 3 or lower, then this guy is, like, gravy.
Like, this guy's not going to be bad for beatdown decks at all. Blue Skies will probably play it as probably a ground pound finisher.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is definitely, like, your curve topper. And, like, if you get to cast him earlier, that's just, you just got lucky.
Yep.
Like, you got gravy on your cheese fries.
That's called
good
poutine.
for you. No, poutine is cheese curds. There's a difference.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, this guy is easily probably a late pick because a lot of people aren't like. This is very clearly an improvised card. You're not really going to want this if you're not in the improvised deck. Yeah. So, Devin.
Next card. Disallow. It is a rare instant. 1 and 2 blue. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability.
Get wrecked, Void Slime.
Mana abilities can't be targeted.
Thank you, Wizards. A playable counterspell.
Dude,
Yeah.
it's just beefed up Stifle.
Or beefed up cancel.
Trickbind.
That too.
Actually, I think Trickbind's better.
Trickbind is better because it can't be countered.
Yeah. Except by counterbalance.
Or lurking predators into Mystic Snake.
Mystic Snack.
Wait, what's that? Summary dismissal. Removed from the stack.
Well, split second.
Split second.
Oh, yeah.
You
Never
can't.
mind.
Get wrecked.
You can't even time stack it. But yeah, this card made me believe that we might be seeing a blue control deck, and there's a couple other things in here that also kind of convinced me. But as it stands, this is definitely a solid playable counterspell. Like, having the ability to counter activated and triggered abilities means that we're probably going to stop playing Summary Dismissal and start playing this to stop Emrakul.
This actually makes me feel like that Jeskai combo deck could be viable.
Yeah, because this is pretty solid counter magic right here.
Yeah.
Void Slime, I mean, I wasn't around when Ravnica was a thing, but I have to imagine Void Slime saw at least a little play.
It was fringy.
True. I mean, I don't know what the competitive deck was back then, but this is mono blue, which in some definitions means this is strictly better than Void Slime, which was already a premier, like a very good card on its own.
Yeah.
But I like this card.
Yeah,
And
I don't hate it.
The art's cool, because it's got barrel slashing some flames or whatever. I don't know how that works.
I don't either, but it must be a really cool blade.
I'm gonna set fire to the rain and then I'm gonna cut it in half.
Touch your face.
Oh, man down.
Saw that coming.
All right, so in short, Disallow, really good pick. I think it'll be fine, especially if you're wanting your money worth out of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's this pre-ordering at right now? I wonder.
That is a great question. I'm glad you asked.
Spoken like a true politician. Bill, do you want to go and grab the next one?
Yeah.
Sure, let me get there.
Let me stop playing Pokemon. All right. The next one, after Disallow,
Yeah.
Yes.
Dispersal Technician.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
A Vidalcan Artificer is common, costs 4 and a blue. When Dispersal Technician enters the battlefield, you may return target artifact to its owner's hand. It's a 3/2.
Gandalf, this is not.
This doesn't seem that bad, but it's
4 mana or 5 mana,
5 mana,
3/2.
Well, it's the fact that it's a tempo play.
But it's not even bounce a creature back to their hand.
Yeah, I
it's
know. I
bounce an
said it
artifact.
doesn't seem that bad. I didn't say it was good. I just said it wasn't that bad. It's still bad. It's just not that bad.
This is pretty bad. This is a lot. Like
Your face is bad.
this, I would hate. Like this is the card you get as a 14th pick. Like,
Nah, people take basic land over this.
well, we're talking our 14th pick, but you know this.
I was gonna say I would.
The only thing
Yeah.
the only thing I like about this card is the art. Like I mentioned Gandalf because this is definitely a you shall not pass look.
Yeah.
You know, don't take this card. It's bad.
Not pass.
You'll feel bad if you play this card. Just
I'm
spare
going to feel great.
spare yourself the misery. Like I would maybe sideboard this in, maybe if there was some artifact I was super duper scared of, but not a lot cares about bounce because so much stuff gets value when it enters anyway. So, next up we have a card. Efficient Construction is 3 and a blue. It is an enchantment. It's an uncommon. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you make a Thopter.
I like this card a lot.
I
Me
do too.
Like this is the card I wanna get this card and do like a build around with it and just make a bunch of Thopters.
I mean, that's what you would do with this card is you would build your deck around it. This is not like, I've got a couple artifacts. I guess I could draft this.
Well, I feel like if you're already in an order, like the thing is, this is the card you want to have for your improvised deck. So you have your various improvised cards, and then you just happen to see this come along. Like you could pick this up and not build around it just because it already synergizes with what you're trying to do. Now, given this doesn't say when an artifact enters the battlefield, that's a non-token. So like you can't just like spit out servos and do like dumb things with that.
Who says?
This card, but you know, I think this is a decent card. I feel like you could go ahead and let this table because there's only one kind of deck that's going to want this, and everybody else is just going. It's
The
just
good
gonna be an
kind.
easy pass for the rest of us.
Yep. This card's definitely not like one that you have to first or third pick.
This is you can snap this up from 5 to 8.
I think you could really actually snap this up probably 9th to 11th.
Possibly.
Yeah.
It depends.
To 11th.
9th to 11th.
But yeah, you know, decent card. I actually like it a lot for Commander too, where you have stuff that'll bounce itself back to your hand and like you can do a bunch of degenerate artifact stuff. Or you could just play every bone saw you have and just like get a bunch of free Thopters.
And then you can play Paradoxical Outcome.
And then you laugh.
Yeah, because you just drew like 3 cards.
Hooray! We did it, Reddit.
All right. So, card.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Next up, Hinterland Drake. It's 2 and a blue for a Drake. It's common, flying. It can't block artifact creatures, and it's a 2/3.
I like it.
I like it because it's a cheap flyer.
I mean, it's a little bigger than a Windrake, but it can't block artifact
It's
creatures.
a slightly better Windrake in power toughness. It passes the vanilla test.
Yeah. So I mean, like this is definitely okay. Like I said, the blue-white skies deck is gonna want this guy. Like he's definitely a solid pick. He is definitely what I would take unless there was removal or a bomb. He's just good, cheap limited. You know,
Yep.
you won't hate him.
I do.
Don't touch him for constructed.
All right. Brandon, you got the next one?
Yeah, so we got Ice Over. It's an enchantment aura, common for 1 and a blue. Enchant artifact or creature. Enchanted permanent doesn't untap during its controller's untap step.
Well, I think you're giving this card the cold shoulder.
I actually feel like I am because it doesn't tap down the creature.
Okay, but the thing is, if you're on the aggro train, which you really shouldn't be in blue, but like in general, I don't think this is that bad because you can either play this as a threat to make it basically not, or sorry, I lost my train there. To basically threaten them and be like, if you attack with this again, you're not getting it back up as a blocker. So it's not like a pacifism, but it's a can't attack effect, which is fine. Or you can just play it on something they already have tapped down, like for example their vehicle that you don't want to get hit with.
Their Sky Skiff.
This is fine. I don't really care that it doesn't tap something down, because for 2 mana, this is definitely something you want to pick up early.
I'm not against the card. I just don't like that it doesn't tap down the creature.
I mean, to be fair,
But
we have had a lot of those effects, and there is Malfunction in Kaladesh does this, but taps it down, and I think
It's also 4 mana.
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's 4 mana, you get the extra. You get the fixings.
They could have probably just printed something that's close to Crystallize. They could have made it 1 blue white, and then it tapped down the creature, and then it couldn't attack or block or whatever.
Well, I mean, why not just have it be Claustrophobia or whatever it is, which is 1 blue, tap down a guy, and
That card's sweet.
yeah.
But
they didn't want to give us that again, because first of all, it didn't make any freaking sense. But
Right.
Not that this makes any more sense, but because they decided to create a brand new card that's just, hey, it's not even like a Frost Ray. It's like a Frost Touch, but by a person that is clearly not an Ice Wizard. So how is their hand not frostbitten? What are you doing?
he was giving you the frosty touch on your cold shoulder.
But that wasn't my shoulder. That was very clearly my arm.
Close enough.
There you go. And this has been identifying parts of the human body with Dakota Marker. Thank you for watching. But this is definitely.
The hip bone is connected to the leg bone.
I would high pick this. This is a high pick for me.
It's not terrible.
You don't want to pass this if you have the option.
All right, SpongeBob. Woo! Aww.
Next card.
I am not okay with this.
Illusion.
I'm okay with it.
Stratagem?
Stratagem.
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 That's an uncommon instant for 3 and a blue. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control. Then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Draw a card. Flavor text. When everything hangs on a single moment, be sure you choose the right moment. Jace Bellerin.
Oh my god, this is like the craziest cliche line I have seen yet.
Welcome to Jace Bellerin's dialogue.
Still a nice card, though.
It's not a terrible card.
I mean, it's a fine card. I feel like 4 mana is a little much. Having it replace itself is nice.
But it has the 3 greatest words in Magic.
Draw a card.
Draw a card. The 3 most broken words in Magic.
That too.
Yes. See,
Well, no, I thought the most broken word in Magic was storm.
words.
Word.
Multiple words.
Well, storm is broken,
Storm is fun.
but the reason why storm is broken is because of these 3 words.
No,
Yes.
not the one I'm thinking of. Or the other one I'm thinking of.
Are you thinking of Tendrils of Agony
But that was one of them.
and Mind's Desire?
No.
Dragonstorm.
No.
You should be thinking about Mind's Desire.
No. That doesn't even draw the card.
Brain Freeze.
But
No.
the thing is, Mind's Desire wins the game by getting you all of your deck.
Or you just grape shot them to death.
You could do that. But the reason Grape Shot is so good is because of these 3 words.
I don't get it.
Cantripping.
Because you have to play Metamorphose, the Netta spell, to draw another card, to do a whole bunch of other things, to go off, and then you play. Oh, you were like, oh, I accidentally drew 30 cards this turn, and I'm grape shotting you for 31.
But it doesn't say. But grape shot doesn't say the words "draw a card" on it anywhere on it.
That's because it's your win condition after you draw 31 cards.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that.
Somebody hasn't here plays Storm.
No.
Okay, I know how to play Storm. I'm saying that.
Then how many cards do you draw?
Like, depending on how far you can get your chain to go, 20 to 30. But
Exactly. Grape Shot only deals 1 damage unless you do that.
yeah,
That's why you.
but you can do more than just draw cards to get Storm triggers.
Yeah.
You can play baubles.
Yeah, you can play baubles. But those baubles, like especially Mishra's bauble, what does it do?
It lets you look at the top card of somebody's library.
What else does it do?
You draw a card on
There
that
you
side.
go. We did it.
But here's the problem. But here's the issue with that, because the baubles specifically say that you don't draw until the next turn, which means your storm count goes back to 0.
Which is fine.
But then you're not contributing to your storm count anymore, so it doesn't
But you
matter.
have something to replace it.
Okay, but why even bother then?
Why would you play the bauble in there?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's why he doesn't play it.
You could.
The only 0-1 of auto effects you should be playing in Storm are Moxes. Or Lotus Petals.
I'm willing to say Lotus Blooms. What? The Lotus Blooms because of eggs? Got it.
Lotus Bloom works too, yeah.
Did I tell you I picked up a Lotus Bloom for Brago?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I cast the turn 3 Sun Titan and got it back.
Anyway.
All right. So I'm not. I am not a fan of this card.
I mean, having it be instant is nice. Like, I feel like this is definitely a card you could let table.
Yeah, it'll definitely table. It'll be fine. You'll get it back. Bill.
Leave in the Dust.
Yeah.
It's an instant.
Gotta go fast.
Common for 3 and a blue. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Draw a card.
So, when you cast this, do you immediately think of Sonic Adventure 2?
Which, I assume you're either talking about a level or a track from that game's soundtrack. That
City
game,
Escape?
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta go fast.
You're too slow.
That's from Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you watch any of the Hearthstone videos that they released?
No.
All right, so the one that I was thinking of just now was there's a card called Bouncing Blade. What it does is it deals 1 damage randomly to random creatures on the battlefield until a creature dies.
Interesting.
Yes. So I was watching a streamer one night, and they actually took this video from the stream. He had it was a 50-50 chance to kill a creature on the board, either his or his opponent's. And he placed the Bouncing Blade, and then it looked like it didn't do anything. And he's like, "What happened?" And he saw that the spell resolved. But what happened was the Bouncing Blade came in from the right side of the screen, went right into his creature and killed it. And he didn't see it.
Wow.
So on the compilation video, they had Sanic from the memes come in, hit his creature, and then it dies. He's like, "What happened?" And then whenever the video ended, it was like, "You're too slow," and then just cut out.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I like that. As for Leave in the Dust, like, this is definitely not great. Like, 4 mana to return a permanent is whatever. Like, I like instant speed is fine. The replacement effect is fine. I just feel like this is a lot of mana.
This is a time walk.
Yeah.
It's a 4 mana time walk. Because you play it on, like, let's say your opponent's turn 5, turn 4, after they cast their big guy, and then you play it to bounce their guy back to their hand, and then you draw a card. And then you take your turn.
Okay.
Yeah. This card's actually very good.
Yeah, I like it.
It is super good. Like, I would definitely pick this kind of high, probably about 4th.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems about right.
Yeah.
All right. The next card that we have is a very interesting card, especially for blue-black artifact control.
This thing's cool.
Mechanized Production. It is a 2 blue enchantment aura. It is a mythic rare that reads enchant artifact you control. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature. Then if you control 8 or more artifacts with the same name as one another, you win the game.
Okay, so I have a question.
Answer.
Why wouldn't you just play this with clues?
If you wanted to play it with servos, I guess.
I think that clues would be better.
Clues. Blue's Clues.
Nah. You can play Clue Green. I like this.
I mean, I don't like the thing is there's a lot of different applications for this.
Uh-huh.
Like like Tireless Tracker, you could make more clues.
What about? Oh god, I can never remember this card's name. Graph Mole, I think it's called.
The one that gains you life when you crack clues.
Yeah.
It seems okay. I mean,
You seem okay. That seems awesome.
Do not disallow our jank.
Well, I mean, like technically, I could leave it in the dust and ruin it.
But then we could live and learn if you leave it there.
That was like the worst track from that game. Don't
I
even
liked
mention
it.
that.
I liked it.
Compared to Escape from the City.
There was also It Doesn't Matter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that one was really bad. I actually have it on my Spotify list with those other 2 tracks.
Why?
Because that soundtrack was freaking cool.
Yeah. But why don't you just cut the bad part of it out?
Because
It's like excising a tumor.
that's my childhood. It's all nothing but a tumor. It's a tumor.
Now that we're done making fun of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, I'm not as impressed with this card as I think a lot of people are, specifically because you get a copy on your upkeep, which means they have a whole turn cycle to get rid of whatever this is attached to.
Tameo's Journal. Yeah. That goes in Clue Green. Yeah. Yep.
But, like, that's the thing. I don't like this card that much. I feel like they're just going to get rid of whatever you try to copy with it.
I'm going to try to play this in Riss. Not in Riss, in Brago. And then I'm going to make Phyrexian Metamorphs.
Well, keep in mind that I don't think Phyrexian Metamorph, you don't make a copy of Phyrexian Metamorph. You make whatever it's a copy of.
That's right.
But the thing is, you can't. If you do that, then you can't reset it.
So, you just flicker everything. You blink this and Metamorph whenever you want to change it. You just can't flicker the token that you made.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't think it's that great. I'm not.
I think it's cool.
Even in my artifact decks, I'm giving this a pass.
I think it's really cool. I'm okay with it.
I guess we'll move on.
Yep. All right. This is not me, but we'll pull. I'll read it anyway. We have Metallic Rebuke. It's 2 and a blue for an instant. It's common. Has Art Evoke, and then it says counter target spell unless its controller pays 3.
This is when I saw this card, I'm like, blue control might be a thing now.
I felt the same way.
Because I saw this and I'm like, okay, we have disallow, we have this. Like, let's make that. Let's get down to brass tacks.
Tax. You can tax their mana with this. Quite hard.
I mean, like, if you just tap one artifact, it's a mana leak.
Yep.
And Wizard says we're not allowed to have mana leak anymore, so having mana leak back is great.
I feel that you would pick this decently.
Like, yeah, if you're in the blue improvised deck, this is definitely a high pick. Even if you're not and you're in blue and you just need, like, some counter magic or whatever, this is not bad. It's a common, which is nice.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this art is really cool because it's just Tezzeret. Like, it's not actually a counter spell. It's just Tezzeret summoning a wall of his thingies to block Liliana's death magic.
Yep.
Because death magic doesn't work on artifacts.
All right.
Even though it does, even though you can murder a servo.
So, this card seems fine, obviously. I just want to move on because the next card's boring, and I don't want Brandon to read it. It's Negate. Boring. Move on. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like we should at least mention this just because, like, have you looked at the art and flavor text for this?
I saw the art.
I like the art for... So, Negate it's a common 1 and a blue, counter target non-creature spell. You know, stock effect. But the art is a Vidalcan with, like, chest armor, and the chest armor has a big gem on it, and he's firing, like, a counter spell ray out of his chest. And then you have the and then you have the flavor text, which is hysterical. It is fascinating to see how the people of this plane replicate magical techniques without a natural gift. Also frustrating. And that is by Jace Bellerin.
That's probably the best part of this card.
I mean, I love this version of it, and it's going
I
to
do
look
too.
cool in foil
Yeah.
because of the laser.
He's a fire in his laser.
So next we have
It's got like the Gamera chest laser.
Next we have Quicksmith Spry, which is a human artificer, 2/3 for 3 and a blue, and when Quicksmith Spry enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains tap, draw a card for as long as you control Quicksmith Spy.
And it's a rare.
You know what this is really good with?
What?
The clue token that you have enchanted with that goofy mythic enchantment spell we had earlier.
You know it doesn't copy that, right?
Yeah, I know. But you can tap the clue to draw a card, and then next turn copy that clue, and then you can draw another card off of it, which can get you your disallow to protect it.
Well, if we're going to talk about ridiculous scenarios that'll never happen, then you just untap. Because if they're playing this on 4 and you're on the play, then you play your planes on 5, and then you play your Consulate Crackdown and just make them cry tears of sadness.
Yeah, but we're not going to run into that, so I'm not worried about it.
You're not going to run into this either.
Yeah, exactly. So why are you taking away Magical Christmas Land?
I'm taking away Magical Christmas Land because this card does not deserve talk of Magical Christmas Land.
Okay,
this
cool.
card is bad.
Moving on. Yep.
Move on. Bill.
No, actually, Devin. Yeah.
Devin. Yeah.
Devin, yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Woohoo! Walking up. Oh, Jesus.
Next card.
I feel like this is not working.
Reverse Engineer.
That's cool.
It's an uncommon sorcery. At 3 and 2 blue, improvise, draw 3 cards.
I love the art on this card.
I love the art on this card. I just like this card in general because
This card's gonna look pretty in foil.
Oh, yeah.
this is gonna this is not Thoughtcast, but it doesn't have to be, and that's fine because I like this card regardless.
I like that Thoughtcast drew 2, if you had Affinity. And then this one draws you 3 whenever you can knock it down to double blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even without the improvise, this is still a Jace's Ingenuity, which was playable.
Well,
so,
Jace's Ingenuity was playable because it was an instant.
was it?
Yes.
Yes.
This is moderately playable, but you wouldn't play it until you would probably Sphinx's Revelation.
What? Sphinx?
Whenever you would want to cast a Sphinx's Revelation, that's when you would
Yeah.
play this. So whenever you had like 7 mana, so you could counter with a negate or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay though. You know.
Yeah, it's a good card.
I
like
feel
it.
like this is going to be I feel like this is an F&M promo in the making.
Probably. And it's not going to be nearly as pretty.
Might be a lot. The F&M promos, for as bad as the cards as they've been, they've had a lot of really pretty art.
Noose Constrictor was awesome.
I like the art for Fortune's Favor. I just wish the card wasn't like a garbage fire.
Rare miss. Who am I kidding? We got Ojutai. Well, Orator Ojutai. All right, Bill. Let's do this.
Which was like the worst Wall of Omens.
Yeah.
Salvage Scuddler.
It's a crab.
It is a crab. It is a glare. It is an uncommon crab for 5, 4 colorless, and 1 blue. Whenever Salvage Scuddler attacks, return an artifact you control to its owner's hand, and it's a 4/4.
This seems highly awesome.
This is a good card. I mean, like, you get to reuse your artifacts, although it's going to feel bad if all you have is servo tokens.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what this card reminds me a lot of? Did you guys ever play the expansion for Fallout 4 for Far Harbor?
To be fair, I didn't even make it to Diamond City yet. Because I've been doing other things. Like
What about you
Pokemon.
guys?
I switched to Doom.
Doom's a good choice.
Well, basically, in the Far Harbor expansion, it's got a lot of like Massachusetts Bay type flavor to it, where it's like a port soaked by radiation,
Yeah.
and there's an enemy which is literally a giant hermit crab, and its shell is half of a bus.
That's neat.
It's awesome and terrifying when you discover it for
That's
the first
really
time.
neat.
And that's what this card reminds me of, because it's
I can see it.
like, even the flavor is literally just like, a hermit crab goes through many shells in its lifetime, and not all are natural in origin, which meant it stole a piece of something and made it a shell, and I like that, and it's cool.
Seems completely fine to me.
Looks cool.
Yep. Card's not terrible either.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Seems
a
fine.
5-mana 4/4, you know. You'll play it.
Dakota.
Next up is Shielded Aether Thief. That's a mouthful.
That is.
For 1 and a blue. He is a Vidalcan rogue with flash, and whenever he blocks, you get an energy counter. And you can tap him and pay 3 energy to draw a card, and he is a 0/4.
Jaren, you got your wish.
I got my wish, although he has to tap.
So he's like a really crappy archivist.
Yeah.
Like, I like the art on this because, like,
I just noticed I called it.
I see.
For you to draw a card.
I didn't. At first, I thought you could only see his his main arm, and I thought he was playing like a giant ether-powered turntable. And I thought that was kind of cool. But no, he's dropping into a manhole. Is what he's doing.
No, that makes sense.
But this is a good card. Like, having the trick to flash him in and then block something.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. And, like, you can block and then draw. Like, if you have 2 energy already and then you block, but whatever you're blocking is going to kill him.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you can't do that. But,
You can't put damage on the stack.
well, no,
Sorry.
not putting damage on the stack. You can't play him and then tap him immediately is what I was thinking. But this guy's fine. Like, he's not anything you want. He's not anything you want high, but he's definitely, like, he's a good, probably, you could probably let him table.
Yeah. All right. So
I want the card after this one.
card after this one.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy. Okay, yeah, cool. All right, I'm actually excited to have this one. So, it's not very good, but I still like it. Shipwreck Moray. It's 3 and a blue for a fish. Fish. It's a common. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you get 4 energy counters. You can pay an energy counter to give it +2, -2 until end of turn, and it's an 0/5. We have Sword of Morphling.
If this is sort of Morphling, I'd hate to see what you consider almost Morphling.
Whatever that one dude from Kaladesh was that was like
Yeah.
the flying.
Multiform.
Yeah,
warrior.
that guy, multiform wanderer. Yeah, well, that guy.
I don't know. Like, to me, this
This is 1/5 of Morphling.
this is another card where I feel like you don't want to take this card because you think you can do stuff with it. You take this card because you need something that makes energy, and this guy makes energy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Like, because 5 mana for a 0/5 is not that great.
It's 4 mana.
4 mana. Well, 4 mana for a 0/5 is not that great. Like,
I can take it or leave it. To be fair.
I'm not horrified by it. But
I don't know. I miss my 2 mana 0/6 and cons that you could never ever get through, like, ever.
That's why I just went around it. Because I always drafted the white-black warrior deck in triple cons. Nobody ever played that deck, and I was just like, I'll take all the white cards.
Well, because a lot of the stuff. I don't think white was that great in that set last
It
time I
wasn't.
checked.
It wasn't. It was the black cards that were the best.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Raid was such a good mechanic with the Brutal Horde Chief. Well, whatever that one guy's called. The 1/3 or 2/3 or whatever he is. That whenever he had Raid, he made a guy whenever he came in.
Brutal Horde.
Yeah, Brutal Horde Chief. Like,
No, Brutal Horde
No,
Chief
wait.
let you control combat. The guy
that's the mythic.
you're thinking of Mardu Strike Captain or whatever.
No, this one was out of cons.
Yeah,
was-
Mardu Strike Captain.
He was a white card.
Made a dude.
He was 2 and a white, and Raid make a guy when he came in.
I don't know.
He was a Horde Chief. I know that.
Yeah, he was Horde Chief something.
But you know, the Moray is not great.
Mardu Horde Chief.
That's it. That's the one. That guy's awesome. I remember one draft, I had 4 of those. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I had 4 of those, and they also gave me 3 Warriors Call or whatever it is. The one that gives them all +2, +1, and lifelink.
Dude.
Oh.
But,
All
yeah,
right.
Moray's
Moray is
meh.
making us deserve Moray.
The next card we have, I'm taking this one for a very personal reason, is Skyship Plunderer. This is a 1 and a blue 2/1 flyer whenever Skyship Plunderer deals combat damage to a player, for each kind of counter on target permanent or player, give that permanent or player another counter of that kind. But here's the distinctive bit. He is a human pirate.
Yes.
I cannot tell you how long I've been waiting for them to print another playable pirate.
We got a new pirate for Ramirez de Pietro deck.
We did it, Reddit. But I mean, even disregarding the creature type, a 2/1 flyer for 2 is absolutely playable. And what's unique with his ability, there's a couple cards in the set that have this whenever something happens for each kind of counter on blah blah blah. Like, I know there's at least one in green that I know of, and there might be one in black. But what's unique is that it doesn't have to just be like a +1/+1 counter. Like, you can do, if you're playing older formats, you can do charge counters or negative counters. I mean, that's fine. And, like, for example, cards with weird counters on them, like filibuster counters on the Council of on Azor's Electors.
Yep.
Or actually the Unity counters on Call for Unity.
Yeah.
You can boost those with this card as well, and that makes this really solid. I mean,
You could also put more Omen counters on things.
you could do a lot worse for an uncommon than this guy, for sure. I like him a lot.
I do too. He's pretty sweet.
Like, and there's another pirate in the set that we'll get to next time that is even better than this card, but is not in this color, which makes me angry.
Sad.
But we'll get to there.
I'm sorry.
Brandon,
Let's do this.
So next we have Take into Custody. It is an instant for a single blue. Tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step.
This is definitely a way better. I think it was called Rush of Ice.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what I thought Rush of Ice was when I first saw it.
Until you realized Rush of Ice was Rush of Ice, and you said, "Pooh."
Yeah, it's a sorcery. But this thing is definitely the trick that we needed.
yeah, I like this a lot. I mean, which one do you think is better, this card or Select for Inspection?
Select.
Well, that one's Scries, so I would say Select would be. Because that actually is a mid-combat trick. Because it makes your opponent, they feel that they made their right attack by attacking with, like, their 3 dudes or something into your 2 guys. And they think they're going to get their 1 point across, and then you bounce their big guy, and then you block effectively and kill their little guy.
Okay, that
And then you
seems
get the
fair.
Scry, yeah.
Yeah, I like Select a lot better.
I do too. But I would still play this card. I would
Yeah.
play this, no
I'd be
doubt.
happy to play this card.
Yeah, I would be completely fine with it.
It's tempo.
Yeah, that's what you need in the blue-white skies.
All right. Yeah, take this pretty high because removal. Devin, you're up.
Trophy Mage. It is an uncommon human wizard. 2 and a blue. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 3. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. It is a 2/2.
This card seems fair.
Yeah, I mean, like, we talked about this a lot on a previous episode, but, you know, like, this gets your Scrap Trawler. There's a lot of value at 3. There's a lot of 3-mana artifacts, like, both in Standard and farther back, that do things that this card will go get. This is fine.
I really wish that the art on this, she was holding a Warhammer of some sort. That way you could jokingly say that she found the Loxodon Warhammer.
That would be so great.
That would be a great callback, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Since, Kaladesh is supposed to be the plane where all the artifacts exist.
Mm-hmm.
Or could exist.
I mean, but, see, there's an issue with that specifically.
Yeah.
Because
There's
there are no
There's no
Loxodon.
Loxodon.
There are elephants. There are no
Yeah.
Loxodon.
Yeah, there's no Loxodon, and we definitely don't have any Phyrexians.
So...
Yeah.
We have all the cards in the set,
Yeah.
Brandon. It's we tried to get woke on Phyrexia.
Yeah.
It didn't happen. We're still asleep.
Yep.
So we'll have to wait for next time. I'm
All right.
sorry.
So, Trophy Mage, draft-wise, without knowing the artifacts, I don't know. It depends on what the artifacts look like.
Gray Ogre's a Gray Ogre.
Yep. All right, now, I requested this one.
Yep.
All right, we have Court of Calling. Oh, I'm sorry, not Court of Calling. We have War of Invention. It is X triple green. I mean blue. For an instant. For an instant, and it's a rare, and it has cut. Oh God!
Improvise.
Improvise, and you search your library for an artifact card with a converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library.
I'm proud of you. You didn't say creature there.
I thought about it.
So if you think about it, even the name is a reference to Court of Calling because it's sound of thing.
Yeah.
But oh my God, is this card going to be doing terrible, awful things?
Why?
You said they weren't gonna break Improvise.
Why?
Wizard.
This wasn't my fault.
I blame you.
Okay, that's fair.
You were my safety net. I believed in the you.
To be fair, I believed in them too.
Why, Wizards? Why?
I just can't wait to see somebody improvise into a Blightsteel Colossus.
You know you have to do that in Commander now.
Of course I'm going to do that.
Why wouldn't you do that?
You say that wasn't like I wasn't literally already planning to do it.
I think he saw that card and he was like, "Get Blightsteel."
Well, I mean, like I could get. To be fair, I do want to pull the one-time move where I swing all into like, and I've got a lot of like trades and stuff set up on between attacking and blocking, and then I War of Invention for Darksteel Forge. Brandon has stared down my Darksteel Forge more than any other person in this room, I believe. So
Darksteel Forge never scares me. Like, it does lead to degenerate things, but it's just like, it's whatever.
After a turn 3, was it Wormcoil?
Turn 2, actually.
Seems fair.
Land, Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, pass. Next turn, land, Wormcoil.
Yeah, see, I can't do that because I don't have a Mana Crypt.
That's why I got them when they were as cheap as they got, which wasn't that cheap.
See, I wanted a Mana Crypt, but I also decided that buying a car was probably more important.
Well, you didn't buy... Well, to be fair, you weren't thinking about purchasing a car until after Eternal Masters had left.
That's true.
So...
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I spent more than I really reasonably should have for stuff like that. So, you know. You win some, you lose some. Welcome to Magic.
Okay, so...
We're all broke and we all eat at Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell, too.
I ate at Taco Bell a lot before I became broke.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. I like Taco Bell.
Those things are not mutually exclusive.
No. And I eat at Taco Bell a lot more because I am broke now.
And thus the circle of life continues.
Yeah. All right, now, I know I took the last one, but I'm going to go ahead and take this one too.
Why?
Because it's the last card.
Aw, okay.
Aw. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm really sorry. Windkin Raiders. It's 4 double blue for a human artificer. It's an uncommon. Has improvise. Flying 4/3.
This is fine.
This is perfectly fine.
Like, even like if you pay 5 mana for this, then congrats. You've gotten it at the same rate as half the other flyers in the set. But I mean, if you can get it down to 2 mana, this is not a bad card.
This is a really good card for 2 mana. I'm not against it.
Not at all.
Nope. Okay, so middle pick, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would take it pretty high because this is your. I think this could be your curve topper.
I think it'll be your curve topper, but I really don't think that it's your game ender.
It could be your game.
It could be. It really could be.
I mean, 4 power in the air puts them on a 5-turn clock. That's not a very long clock.
No, it's really not. But I just don't think that it's your game ender. Not like that Drake from earlier.
What?
The Drake. The
Drake.
6/4.
The
whale.
whale.
The whale. The beluga. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just feel that the whale is a little better.
I mean, yeah, but
it's a rare.
The rare versus the uncommon. But yeah, this is a fine card. Like, you won't table this. Pick it up when you see it.
Yep. All right, so now that we have finished blue, how do we feel about blue?
Blue looks way better than it used to.
Uh-huh.
Like, after Kaladesh blue, this blue is a refreshing...
This blue does not blue as bad as it blue.
This is a refreshing, clear taste that I will grow to love.
Yep.
Probably.
This will be fine. I think it'll be
The
great.
the problem is that we still have to draft a pack of Kaladesh, which is like somebody just
They
like,
just get selected for inspection.
somebody just takes a tiny little poop in your drink, just a little, poop.
Ceremonious rejection.
Just a nugget, just a little bite size, just tiny and small.
I tried so hard.
And fell so far,
No.
but in the end, it didn't even matter.
You're right, because I laughed anyway. All right, so this has nothing to do with Magic, but we were talking about Pokemon evolutions X and Y earlier. Are you guys familiar with old archetypes from Pokemon?
No.
Okay, so currently we are one card off of one of the first tier 1 decks that was ever in Pokemon.
Okay.
We only need Scyther, and it was called Haymaker. Haymaker was able to kill basically on turn 1.
Okay.
Yeah. It had Hitmonchan, Machop, and Electabuzz. And then when Jungle came out, it had Scyther. And it basically made it to where it played plus powers to just get to be able to knock out like the basics whenever they came out.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm hoping if Pokemon or whoever makes the Pokemon TCG releases a jungle set that we get Scyther, and then I can finally play Haymaker 20 years later.
Okay. So, did that have any relevance to the thing that we're doing now?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
He quantified that.
Yeah,
No, he
I
didn't.
said this has nothing to do with Magic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow, way to go, jerkbag. Make me sound like a jerkbag when you weren't even listening to me.
Okay. And
That's fair.
Whatever.
do you want to sing the song this time?
No, I'm fine.
You can go ahead and do it. I
Because
give
I'm a
you
man.
permission.
I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Got him.
now that we're done talking about whatever, is there anything else we'd like to mention before we end the episode?
I'm going to actually start streaming. I don't have a schedule, but I'm going to.
Woo!
Yeah.
Just a little woo.
The best part is, it's because I'm playing Final Fantasy 14, and I don't know what I'm doing.
So you're just like every other Let's Player.
Yeah. Except I legitimately have no idea what I'm doing. All I know is I'm playing an archer, and I'm going to be a bard.
Hooray.
Yes.
Let's see. So, well, one thing I guess we ought to announce, because this will be going up shortly before the pre-release, is that Clutch is doing a pre-release at midnight on the 15th, I guess it would technically be 14th. Well, does it become the 14th or does it become
Friday night.
Okay.
Friday night. 12:01 a.m. Saturday morning, Friday night.
It's a midnight pre-release. It's $25 unless you pre-order Aether Revolt, at which point we knock $5 off the price because we good like that.
We cool dudes.
If we get 32 players in, we will be offering a box of Aether Revolt when it comes out as a door prize. If we get 54?
50.
50.
50 or
if
more.
we get 50 or more players, then we will be putting 2 boxes up as door prizes.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in on this, then give us a call, drop us a line, get your pre-registration. And we will see you Friday night.
Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, all that's really nice to get a hold of him. He answers very quickly on either. If he actually checks his phone.
If he checks his phone.
If he checks his phone,
We're
which
sorry.
caused me to get a match loss this evening.
We're sorry, Nathan.
Still made top 4, but you know, with a deck that I had no preparation with, and it was awesome.
And that's how the cookie crumbled. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next week for the black, red, and green portion of our set review. And until next time, we are out.